because Vellum will be underground for a lot of the fight. And knowing where he will appear on the sides post 50% HP, we'll get into that in a little bit, but early on where he will spawn is very useful information. So now we're off to the big baddie. The main difference for Vellum between the other three is that you need more IED, you need more ignore enemy defense to do your damage here. For the other three bosses, 85% plus is enough. For Vellum, you would want 93% or higher, basically as much as you can get. So in the beginning, Vellum comes up in two different forms, Flaccid and Erect. That was Flaccid. Just a little half chub, that's Erect. And then Erect has two forms in the beginning. Erect Shooting, which is this one. And Erect Non-Shooting. Shooting means he shoots 3 balls. One far away. One close to him, one far away, and then one at medium range. He typically doesn't do the same attack twice in a row, so you can kind of go by that. If he comes up Erect, typically that's a one-shot, by the way. If he comes up Flaccid, that's like an 80% hit, so not 100% death. You can kind of know if he's going to shoot or not, kind of. Like if he comes up and a tail doesn't spawn right away, that typically means he'll start shooting. If he comes up and a tail spawns right away, that typically means he's not going to start shooting. That's kind of how I see it. You can see that tail was a little bit late, so then my indication is he's probably not going to shoot because he just finished shooting. That was a very late spawn. It could have been a big hit. He's probably going to shoot now because he didn't just before. Yeah. The tails will spawn where you're standing. So you could also go to the front because now the front is completely safe because he did his 3rd shot, if you count correctly. And his tails were just spawning where you were standing. For me, there's the added difficulty that I have to be as far away from him as possible to optimize my damage. And he will typically summon 3 tails during the shot phase. Always keep in mind the timing of the little red things falling. Ideally, you would want a stutter step to minimize the surface range of the tails to optimize your own surface area where you can be safe. That was a big dash, happens now and then. If you don't move, typically he spawns where you're standing. He didn't right there, so it's not 100% foolproof. But basically after dive or after disappearance, if you don't move, typically he will spawn where you were standing. If you do move, he typically moves to where you would be if you keep moving in the same speed. So you can see here I'm kind of stutter stabbing the tails so that they overlap. If they overlap, then there's minimal amount of surface area covered by them. I think he's doing a dash into the corner of the map. That's bold. That's bold, dude. Nobody's ever done that. He's coming up Flaccid again. Flaccid is still very undangerous right now. I think he's going to shoot here, so I want to move further away. The shots are one shot, so you want to not move into those. Count to 3, and then what you want to do is immediately move back. Don't stay out of frame, because if you stay out of frame, you don't know what he's doing, you don't know where he's going, and also you don't see the indicators for the red rocks to fall. If you miss the indicators for the red rocks, then that could end up being fatal to you, because you could end up jumping somewhere where one happens to spawn, and then he happens to do a dive right at the time, and then you get fucked. That happens a lot. I didn't stutter step these properly. You can see that they didn't overlap, which has caused me to have to move away very far, and that causes me to now get hit by this rock and get stunned. And if the timing was a little bit less fortunate, I would have died there. So typically you don't want to get yourself into the corners like I did there. This one is really bad. I jumped out of the way in time, but you can see that the combination of the timing of the big jump and the red rocks is sometimes so perfect almost that it feels like you can't really get away. Okay, so this is what you kind of want to do. You want to overlap the tails and not do that. I got too close, so that's one of the things. If you get too close to him when he's up erect and shooting, and then he goes down, if you're up too close to him, it'll knock you back. For my Demon Avenger, it's a one-shot, even though it shouldn't be. You saw it wasn't a one-shot for me. And then because I got knocked back into the tail, that killed me. So if I'd stayed a little bit further away until he went down and then went forward into the place where he was, I would have been just fine. And as you also saw, he went into the flaccid form, now goes into the... Oh, gotta move away here. His flaccid form went into the green poison mode, which is a nice mode. You want to dodge the round AoEs, these, and you want to dodge the yellow AoEs, of course, because that's the tails. The little green spots that deal damage aren't very dangerous. That was kind of gambling on my end, because I could have died there if he ended up shooting, but I got lucky there. He's probably going to shoot now, though, so I'm going to move over to the other end. Thank you for the follow, by the way. And the downside of having single target damage here is that the tails kind of cover for him. So that's why you want to start far away as a marksman and then move in closer and closer, basically. That could kill me. Nope, he came out flaccid. Good. Flaccid means no 100% hit. I'm in the corner, taking damage. So if you have to choose anywhere to be, just go on the green residue, because the green residue shots are very low damage, actually. I know your instinct will be to just dodge everything, but the green residue shots aren't that bad. Now you can just get away. If you don't know where the safe spots are, just go right behind a red rock. If you see any red rocks, you know that the red rocks are going to be falling, so just stay right behind one, and then you'll always be the safest you can be, because there's a minimal distance between the red rocks. So if you're, as long as you're within the minimal distance away from a red rock, you'll always be safe there. Again, as soon as the phase is done, the attacks are done, always move back to where he is so you can see him, so you can see what he's doing. You always got to keep an eye on him. As soon as you let your eye off of him, he could be doing some crazy shit. He could be diving somewhere you don't see. He could be shooting, and then you suddenly take like a fireball to the face. Ask anyone, it's happened numerous times. This is the safest spot for me to be right now, even though I do get stunned here. Then I want to move to the right. You don't want to be in a corner though, so I gotta move away from that as soon as possible. Wait for this tail to pop, then move back. He's past 50%. There's gonna be a message. He's taking a deep breath. You don't want to get stunned. I got pulled to the left, so I'm going to move as far to the left as possible. I am getting stunned, but not long enough to get pulled into the fire. You want to keep doing jump attacks or move to the left, one of the two. And he also always summons a tail after that. Don't get debated by it. So one of the ways you can do that, if you have DOT and you're in one corner and you don't see the DOT pop up, then you know he's in the other corner. Or stand in the middle like I did. Wait for the message to pop up. And then you get sucked to the side where he is, because he's taking in a deep breath, he's inhaling a lot of air. And then as soon as you get sucked to one side, just teleport there. The problem with that is you might run into red rocks, so it's kind of a gamble. Because you won't see the spawn of the red rocks, but there will be some. Right now I broke my own cardinal rule. I went too far away from him, so I don't know what he's doing now. He could be doing anything. I think he's coming into the side now. He's not on this side, so he's definitely on the other side. I got stunned, but I should be able to recover before. There you go. If you do get sucked into Fireball, you will die. Remember, if you don't have the resistance link skill, don't res right away, because you could res back into the breath and die again immediately. Wait for the breath to be over or have the resistance link skill. For people who don't know, resistance link skill adds invulnerability for a few seconds after you died. So you get this from all the resistance class characters in the game. I shouldn't be too close here to take that hit. Nice. Wait for the red rocks to fall, jump away. He's gonna do his green shit again. I can move back here. I can move forward, wait for the thing to fall, wait for the rock. I'm gonna take breath damage here, but that doesn't kill me. He's doing the jump. I think no, I wasn't far enough away. So you can see there's also a lot of AoEs on the ground. If you have a class that has more like effects on the ground, then it's even worse. He spawned right next to me, very nice of him. But if you're going with a party, for example, you might have a little bit more tails that spawn, which would be more annoying. And you could also have more AoEs around you, which could further obstruct your view. So that's something you have to take into account. I'm gonna move to the front here because that's where it's safest. Even though like it's kind of counterintuitive to move to the front where he was just shooting giant fireballs, it is safer there than it is behind him because that's where all the tails are spawning. There's a lot of green shit here. I got stunned actually, and there's a tail beneath me, so I gotta move to the left, sadly. Wait for the other tail to spawn, move back in so you can see what he's doing. He's gonna be respawning tails. I'm gonna go to the right. He's gonna do one more tail. Try to keep your buffs up while you're doing all of this. He's going back for deep breath because you could see he went underground, but you didn't see him pop up anywhere. Now he's on the right side. Keep jumping into him, jump attacks, move away from the fire. That's pretty self-explanatory. Always the tail behind that. So keep an eye for where he's popping up. There he is. Remember, if you have any kind of debuffs in your kit, try to keep the debuffs up. Debuff with emblems over his head will also be visible. Typically don't go into the corner like I just did. But it was the end of his phase, so it was kind of safe there, as long as you don't get stunned. Get away from the red shit. He's not gonna shoot. More flaccid green. Next time he goes up, I'll stay here and I'll shoot him. Should be enough damage to finish him off, I think. It's also an iframe, so it's kind of cheating, but... And then enjoy your drops. Remember, if you are doing this in Reboot GMS and you are a Kana, a Hayato, or a Beast Tamer, your weapon could drop straight up, so make sure that you have your drop rate to the max, and otherwise you will get the Pieces of Destruction. So here you have the drops in some kind of weird order. 68, I'm off by just a little bit. So yeah, so I showed you how it can go wrong, what you can do to avoid as much as possible things from going wrong, what you gotta try to work on, and also all I can urge you guys is practice as much as possible. I hope that you guys want to be a productive member of a CRA party, so work on your gear and work on your mechanics, so just practice the boss. Hopefully, from seeing what can go wrong and what can go right, you will be implored to practice more and try to become better at killing these bosses, or at least do more damage to it so that you can find some other people and kill the bosses with together. It's my goal to hopefully show you guys that you can do it as long as you put your mind to it and you practice, more so than just looking for carries and then getting the gear. I feel like this will help you guys appreciate much more the work that goes into it, and you can also get more just a better feeling from having achieved it, basically.